Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is Life Lessons card of the Green Man. And I really like this card coming out right after the Woodward. From what we talked about yesterday, talking about nurturing and, talking about, moving forward on your spiritual journey and just being protected. Again, this is another life lessons card of taking like a leadership position, all right, and being authoritative in how you move, because this green man is sort of like the emperor in a Rider-Waite tarot deck. Now he rules the forest, where you have the kings and the queens that rule different areas within the forest. Okay, so the green man and the green woman, the emperor and the empress, they know everything that's going on within the wildwood forest. Okay, and the kings and the queens of each respective realm pretty much, I don't want to say report to him, but they're kind of taking care of everything within their little kingdoms, right? But he is not, he's not a dictator. He's just aware of what's going on in the forest, right? With all the animals, with all the people, with all the plants, and everything like that. And he represents a lot about creative energy, stability, and he carries that throne of kingship with him. Okay, so he's got the horn of plenty and the spear of power. Okay, and he's wearing a mantle of kingship. Okay, and he's waiting for somebody to take up that mantle and defend the wildwood forest. Okay, now if you take on that mantle that he's wearing, which is the cloak around his shoulders, all right, you're defending the forest, but he's also defending you. Okay, and making sure that you prosper and you move correctly on your spiritual journey. He symbolizes a flourishing heart, one that's generous, one that's a lot of creative flow, a lot of stability, okay, and a lot of thought processes that go around in it. He represents, he and the green woman represent all four of the elements, right? And he does take on that male aspect of nature, okay, where you hear Mother Nature takes care of this, making sure the winds and the rains and the seasons come about. He's making sure that everything's planted accordingly, right? If a tree falls down in the forest, another one's taken root because of the oak nut that fell off months ago. And he makes sure that that's happening. If a fish dies in a stream, he makes sure that the salmon is laying more eggs for more fish, things of that nature. So he's the other half of the green woman, taking on that male masculinity aspect of the wildwood forest. He's often known as the Robin Hood, okay, and challenges you to respect the natural world. Okay, and that natural world right now it's about stability. It's about intellectual thought. It's about the creativity. Okay, and it's about the the emotional aspect of it. And then the fifth aspect of it is the spirituality about it. Because when you can sit down in a forest and just sit and listen without any electronics, without any people around, and just listen to the hum of the forest, you can hear the wind blowing through the pines. You can hear the bees, buzzing around. Maybe you hear the crickets right on the ground. A squirrel chittering amongst the trees. Something, a rabbit hopping on the pine needles. When you sit back and you listen to the natural world, you open up your senses to become one with the natural world. Okay, and and then as soon as you walk back to your campsite, or you can also do it in on a beach. Once you get back to where, okay, let me check my phone, let me check my computer, and everything like that, you've connected to the natural world, but you've gotten back into your habits of the electronic world. I got to stay connected. I got to be on my socials. Okay, and that takes you away from the natural world a little bit and reduces your spirituality. So every once in a while, you need to go out there and take that walk in the woods, or sit on the porch and just listen to the wind blow, right? And he challenges you to do that, to listen to what's going on. He protects everybody that's in the wildwood forest, including you, on your spiritual journey. And he is with you and everybody in the forest at all times. Okay, he has a big, generous heart, and his spirit is just filled with joy. And the card that just fell off is that five of vessels, ecstasy. Okay, so he probably saw you were dancing here a week ago, and he's letting you know, hey, you know what? It's time to get back to the natural world, get back to who you are spiritually on your journey, right? And just enjoy the gift of what spring and summer and fall in the future is going to have for you. Okay, and as you're talking with this green man, he's letting you know that he wants to give you that creative, fertile energy. Now, every time I hear fertile, I think of birthing a new idea. Okay, or birthing a new something into practice. Okay, whether it's a meditation practice or yoga or whatever. Okay, but it also could be, birthing in a new baby, right? Or, a new puppy or a new kitten into your life. So there's that fertile energy that he's bringing along, okay, onto you, the wanderer, or on your spiritual path in the wildwood forest. Maybe you'll notice a couple bunnies, hopping behind you, okay? And you do have her down. You do have the hair down there. She's lots of fertile energy, right? So you do have that creative ambition going on, because she asks you, how do you influence those around you, as well as where do you need to be more understanding, like a mom would, right? So you may take on some of that feminine quality, which we all have in us, but at the same time, it's receiving both the inward and outward flow of the energy, to begin new and thriving projects. Okay, relationships are another way of looking at it. New relationships coming in, and it could be a way of just, a new way of living in the world. Okay, and how you want to, go about stuff. All right, so experience what the green man has for you, and enjoy it, because you're being protected on that inner strength with the woodward. You're being protected here with the green man. And you've done some healing here within the last couple days. And the green man, he's just letting you know, look, your inward journey that you're trying to heal is on the right path. All right? I want to give you this mantle of kingship as you're walking forward, so you can walk forward with authority in how you're handling, that inner stuff. It's a new opportunity, a new beginning with that Ace of Vessels. The Page of Bows wants to let you know, how are you going to engage with this, as well as, what are you, looking at, how are you looking at the situation? Okay? And, the other life lesson card of the Great Bear is showing you that you're protected by the universe. All right? You know right from wrong. You know if you got to replant a plant or, whatever, leave no trace. That's a Boy Scout motto, slogan, one of the two. And it's, okay, so you leave no trace as you're walking through the forest, but do so with authority. Do so as you're taking back, that little worry or fear that kind of got into your head, around your spiritual journey, and just say, you know what? No, I was happy, I was joyful, I was dancing, and I was my trajectory was going up. And then all of a sudden, that two of arrows injustice came in and kind of gave me a little wobble. All right? Now you're past the wobble. And he's giving you that creative energy to say, move forward. Okay? You're protected. You've got that inner strength. You've worked on some healing and, letting people know that, hey, I forgive you. You've gone through all that. And now it's just a point of taking that next step forward and knowing you're protected, because you got 3 life lessons cards down here and a couple court cards. So, 5 out of the 7 cards, people are looking out for you. And you kind of got a green man in the 7 of Stones healing as well. So he's looking after your physical, psychological, and emotional well-being. Okay? And now it's up to you to do that inner work, that inner strength, to work on that creative piece, to work on that intellectual piece. Right? To use your mind and that fire and that passion that you have to move forward. So that's today's message out of the Wildwood Tarot deck, the Green Man. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, and give me a thumbs up. And this is D for the Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care, God bless, and stay safe, everybody.